Yo.
What's going on, Brendan?
Yo, what's happening, man?
Hey, man, you know, we live. We start hot. We hot. Let the people come in the building, man, on time. You like that on time, don't you?
Hey, man, you know, that's the best way to do it, man. I like running on schedules. You know,
man.
Make sure everybody's in the cockpit, you know, where they need to be.
Yeah.
What's going on, Kent? What's happening?
Man, trying to figure all this shit out.
There it is. There it is. I see you in the studio. Okay.
Hey, you see me picked up.
I don't see you at home. Let me see where you at. Let me see where you at. I can't even get you there. Oh, you and I see where you at.
Yes, sir.
He up in there. He deep up in there.
Trying to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, what's going on?
Like about to dive through the daggone screen.
I gotta push it back some.
Yeah, push, yo, you. I'm about to say you're about to come out again.
Peace, family.
What's going on, Cedric?
Yeah.
What it is. Great been long.
What's going on with you? What it do?
I'm good. I'm chilling.
I just saw you over on the Sarnetta. I saw you over on the Sarnetta University channel just now.
Yeah. You know how I'm gonna do it. Do something right before this and bring them right on over here. That you know how we do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was chasing you down, Brendan. I came in on by just after you left.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, we had a good dialogue over there, man. We were sort of doing sort of a pre-show for what were some of the topics we were talking about here today, over on Unbiased as well, in terms of religion, its uses, right, in terms of where it fits and doesn't fit from a scientific perspective. And Sid came through, of course, as always, gave some good insight there. The brother Stupee's Google Scholar, all the usual suspects. We're over there having some good conversation, right?
Yeah, that's a good place we ought to be at over there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, peace to Unbiased Sports. Peace to Unbiased.
Yeah, I get in trouble over there. I get cussing out people. I do way too much over there. Yeah, I'm trying to curb my behavior. Yeah, I can't handle it. You know what I mean? You know how it is in the world. Do the things you can actually handle.
Here we go.
Know the ledge. Matter of fact, I think it was Unbiased show. I'm not sure when me and Double X was arguing about that article with the green in the Sahara and all that. Did you say you going in there twice? Let me see.
Yeah, I'm trying to jump on the computer. I'm seeing if it's working. On my laptop. I'm on the phone, but I'm trying to get on the laptop.
Yeah, all right, what's up? Did he get in there? You in there?
Recording in progress.
Yeah, I got it. I'm gonna leave this one.
Wipe off your screen, it look a little foggy.
Damn, I know I did that shit.
Huh? Yo, put the words in there.
You got the Procaster? Okay.
Yeah, I accidentally hit the damn effect.
Oh, hit that again. Hit that.
Okay. Got the Thanos voice. Okay.
Oh man.
I forgot, man. Yeah, I gotta master this shit. This got a bunch of buttons on this jump, man.
Oh yeah. See, on mine, I think I got your music teed up.
Yeah.
Like talk on the track, I was just thinking the other day, I'm like, damn, this beat.
Yeah, you gotta get that teed up on your pads, man.
I figure out like why they be hating all low. In order to understand the motherfucker, you gotta look at things from their perspective, put yourself in their shoes. That's how I came. They say something from the hood. He had looking too good, living in the house, fireplace, he burning the wood, riding in that mirror every day, yeah, like you should. Bitch, I would if I could, but I hate that nigga. Hate that nigga, make it look easy, look how break that nigga. Quarterback like bees, but he ain't no fucking saint, nigga. I can do it too, but I'm mad cause I can't.
Science denial on trial.
We should've killed him long ago, now look how he living. It's steady winning, yeah, I'm losing, but I chose struggle. grinning and grinning. He a real nigga, might but fuck no taking hitting. He got a bad habit. I couldn't stay on his arm with his granddaddy named Peter Rabbit. Fuck him, nigga don't trust him. Yeah, he's solid as steel, but that money gon' rust him. And too many people love him.
Yeah.
Oh, you stopped the song? It's finished?
Yeah, you just give, just a little taste, get started, in terms of what we're doing. You know how it is. Yeah, I like I gotta get a copy of the Smash Rockwell, the God Killer, man. I gotta get a copy of that to put on here. Yeah.
Banger.
Oh yeah. For sure.
Oh man, he stopped the song halfway in motion. That shit was banging.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to create a shorter intro, man. Matter of fact, and get your neph on that joint.
Oh yeah. You gotta do that quick.
Nice little intro song.
Get it going there, man. Got the people coming in the building, man. There's a little light conversation. Little light conversation to the people come up in the house, man. Where we at? Where we at? Yeah, we ain't gonna start riding till we at least get, can we at least get 50 people in the building, man? 50, 60 people in the building before we get started. Think we can.
Smash the like button on your way in. Thumb up the video as you come in. Like your feet at the door, it costs nothing. Smash the like button. Get them likes all the way up.
They'll say wipe your feet at the door. How about just take your damn shoes off? How about I like that better?
Only get comfortable, man. It's gonna be a while.
Man, don't do it. All right, let me get all my sources together, man. Get them sources together. What we doing here, man? Getting them all in place.
This is certainly an overdue conversation.
Pan-African Designs, yo. Here in the building, man. OG Fish Room, what's going on with you? Juju, what it do? 69 Mega, what's up? Jody Breeze. Jody Breeze. Yeah, we got all kind of stuff to smash them out. Stay smashing them out, man. Stay smashing them out. Stay smashing them out. Let me see something here. Predictions. Before we even get started, man.
I was trying to read the chat. I see there's a whole bunch of empty spaces on that show.
On what?
in the chat.
What you mean?
Somebody shooting somebody out the chat, yo.
For what?
I don't know.
Oh, those are those bots.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those bots.
504, top level. Paragon, what it do? Gary Hart, what's up? What it do? Late Show 42. Yeah. Hey man, make sure y'all thumb up the video, man. Like and thumb up the video. Yeah, y'all know what it is, what we're going into, man. We're gonna go right into. There was a lot of misinformation, man, that was just kicking. It was kicking that information hard. They was kicking it hard, man. Let me see. Why can't I seem to get this over here? This is what I really want to get over here, man. Let me see. Goodness gracious. That's that. Let me get this over here. Before we get started. All righty, let me see. I need this for today's show. Let me see. Yeah. All right. So I got my sources. Y'all got y'all sources teed up. What y'all doing? Y'all got y'all's teed up for the day? What? What y'all got? What y'all
Yeah,
got?
I've got the major slides, essentially
Okay.
the
That's
agenda
perfect.
slide. So we'll
Good.
flip through those and we'll bring them up and down as we share sources and go back and forth, of course, with the banter.
Okay. So let me hold on.
Mhm.
I just need to. Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Let's see. Hold on. I just want to get. All right, let me get this out of here. Let me close these out. Some things we just don't need. Some things we just don't need. We don't need nothing with Jerusalem. We don't need none of that. None of that. Nope. I don't want nothing running slow over here. It's knock all them out. Might want that. We don't need the observer effect. Nope. Nope. Okay, I think I think we both set in the cockpit, man. Let's see where we at, man. Let's see we look at that crowd. We at about 70, man. It's almost about time to start that, man. Let me get this. Hold on. I cannot forget this. Oh man, how did I manage to do that? Okay. Let me see. Oh man. Hold on, let me get that in there. About ready. Cool. Oh, man. Okay, so we right here, man. I guess we got a nice little yeah, I think I'm good right here, man. Let me see where we at. Let me see, man. Hit that like button in there, man. Hit that like button, man. Let me see what we got in here. All right. See how many people hit that like button. Hit the like button, man. Like up the show, man. We're going to get it cooking, man. We're going to get it cooking. Get it cooking. Yeah, we right to 70, man. Black African power. What's good? What's happening? A well-organized lie defeats a disorganized truth every time. Woo-hoo-wee. Man, y'all already know what it is, man. It's the pseudo killers on deck. And we come to do, we got to do, and we're going to do, we got to do. We standing tall, we standing strong. Look, man, pseudo killers on deck. Clark Kent, what's good with you, man? What it do? What it do? What it do?
Ain't nothing, man. What's up with you, man? What's up? Peace to the panel, peace to the chat. How everybody doing out there, man? Good old Sunday. Trying to have some fun. We've been called out. It's war, you know what I mean? And we just here to answer the call, you know what I'm saying? What's up with you?
Man, you looking real tight with the studio equipment. Looking very, very special over there, man. With the clear optics, man, the crystal clear, man. And guess what, Clark Kent? I see you. Hey, Brendan, what's good, man? Pseudo Kill Official, man. What it do? What it do? What it do?
All right, what's going on, brothers? It's the first show of the new year, right? So happy new year. I hope everybody enjoyed the holiday season, right? Peace to the chat, peace to the brothers. Again, right, as I will reiterate what the brother Kent say, pseudo killers, we at war, right? So of course, right, we're here to sort of lay the foundation, frame the conversation, right, as we always do. And this is going to be a series, right? This is going to be a couple different shows addressing these particular topics. So I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be some interesting back and forth with this. Yeah, but peace.
Peace, man. I see you over there in that interballistic, yeah, I'm saying cockpit, man. High level, man. Hey, you know we got the file cabinets open, man. We got the files out on them, man. Y'all know what that is, man. Hey, Cedric, what's good with you, man? What it do? What it do? What it do?
Peace, God killer. Peace to my brothers on the panel. Peace to everybody in the chat. You know what it is. Scientific literacy is the vaccine against the charlatan, scammers, fakers, and hustlers in the community. They called out the war machine. It's time to get it.
Ah, man, do we got the act, man? Where's that? Where's that? Does anybody have a screenshot of that? Hold on, does anybody have a screenshot of that video they did and put our name in the title? Like, you got to be crazy to put our name in any title, man. That's what I'm thinking, like, really? Got hard, though. Hey, man, you know they say pride comes before the fall, though. They have all that heart. Hey, Vance, man, Pseudo Kill official, man, what's good with you, man? What it do? What it do? What it do?
What's good? What's good with y'all? Pseudo Killer official, the old one of the OGs. I know y'all got some powerful information we've been building over the last week to set up a good, decent show for y'all tonight. So hopefully y'all enjoy. What's up with y'all though?
Hey man, you know what it is, man. We about to get it all the way in, man. Real slight. We got a couple shows set up, man, to deal with this contingent of outside ruffians.
For sure. I already know. I know the blueprint laid out for y'all. I already know.
Man, like you can't get it no easier than this. You know what I mean?
Nah, not at all.
Yeah, you can't.
No,
Come on, man. Come on, man.
It's too easy. A lot of easy work out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of easy work out there. And I don't know why people don't realize that science is actually undefeated, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's undefeated. There's no getting around that, man.
No, it's not.
I don't know why they think they can even try that, man.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And the killer is when you try to use science and at the same time, right, you don't agree with science, right? So that's what kills me all the time, right? So yeah, it'll be interesting.
It's crazy. I think this is where the conversation actually needs to start, man. Look, y'all, you either gonna deal with science or you're not. Don't use the word science as a prop, right? Because we all know, no matter how much we talk about that's the white man, that's this, and whatever, everybody understands that science has prediction power. And I'm talking about a scientific prediction. See, that's one of those words there, right? And everybody wants to use science, but a lot of people don't really want to deal with science. Science is self-correcting. And what I found out is that in the community, we like to use the word science, but like to deviate away from science. Call a white man the devil, right? Tool of Satan, and white man science, but yet you got science all in your mouth. You really got pseudoscience. So if you're saying that in the biblical narrative has science, then you're already wrong. You know, we talked about that, like, why would the Bible need science? Why would God of the bounding universe have to use a tool created by human beings to explain his world? Or to even help make his world? God wouldn't have to be. That is the very nature of God. He's outside of nature. He does not need the tools that reside in nature because God is outside of nature. So what y'all got to say about that? About people saying using the Bible and science in the Bible? What do y'all think? What do y'all got to say about that, Brendan?
I want to first expound on what you said with regards to prediction. I'm going to complete that sentence by saying novel, testable predictions. Why? A prophecy is a prediction. It's novel, but it's not testable. So we're not going to even play that game. Novel, testable predictions, which confirms your hypothesis. To have a hypothesis, there must be an observable phenomenon. And when I say observable, I put it in quotes. It doesn't necessarily have to be sight, smell, touch, or feel. We have other instruments which provide us with observations. So, and when we enter into the realm of science, from the moment You enter God into the equation, it's already checkmate. It goes against the fundamentals of methodological naturalism on which science is built.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're doing that, as soon as you start invoking something like supernatural causation, right, that goes against the fundamental tenets of science, right? Saying that whatever theories or whatever postulations you put forth has to be something that can be verified by empirical evidence and can survive scientific testing, right? Like, for instance, us in science, people who adhere to the scientific worldview, right? Our beliefs, of course, yes, we do have beliefs, but those beliefs are warranted because they are on the foundation, they stand on the foundation of empirical and observational evidence, right? Your biblical worldview doesn't have that burden, right? You don't necessarily have to have empirical and observational evidence to believe in the sixth-day creation, right? So why would you even put yourself against that litmus test? That's science's burden. And as soon as you start doing that, if you step into the realm of science and you postulate that myth or that religious worldview is scientific, then that's when you have to actually stand against the rigors of science. And that's what we're going to be doing.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do this. Before we start, we're gonna let the great sister, the dumb one. Oh man, he just called the sister dumb. Man, the sister called us all kind of names. I'm saying respectfully. You be respectful over here. She did say we were stupid. She really did that.
Pseudo Killas, you bunch of big dummies, right?
Dummies. She did say that. I didn't make that.
I'm gonna just say she a little ignorant of the
ignorant.
of the subject. Yeah, I could call it overall dumb. You know,
I would point to.
Oh man, I didn't start that. She started that. Think about that.
Let's get this thing going. Naphtali, you got.
All right, hold on. Let's do this. Oh man. Okay, let me share the screen. Let's kick out show off like this. In the words of the master teacher. Hold on. In the words of the master teacher. Why? She do the very thing we just talked about. Don't do it. Don't holler Bible and science. These two things, the Bible is incompatible with the scientific method. The Bible is not falsified. Like all that stuff, them claims, yo, God is not falsifiable. So let's get it right here. Here we go.
Let's get this thing going. Naphtali, you got the floor. Let me know whenever you're ready to share.
I sure will. All right, guys. Thank you all again. I do apologize for those technical difficulties, but you know how technology is. So tonight, guys, I'm going to be speaking with you about the biblical narrative about the age of the earth. We're going to be utilizing biblical scripture as well as science. I'm going to showcase that science actually complements and goes exactly with the Bible and scripture.
Huh? See? She just did it. Whenever they do that, they done went full-blown pseudo on you. The Bible wouldn't have to be scientific. Remember, there's not a range of definitions. Science is science. Science is simply to know, knowledge, right? Knowledge about what though? The very nature of science is the knowledge about the natural world. The very nature of religion is knowledge about the supernatural world. So you wouldn't need science to prove the Bible. God would have to prove the Bible, right? Let's go back again. And she's saying it with a smile on her face and she's confident. Here she goes.
Complements and goes exactly with science. I'm going to be utilizing biblical scripture as well as science. I'm going to showcase that science actually complements and goes exactly with the Bible and scripture. There's nothing wrong with science when it's true, authentic science, not pseudoscience. And then I will be attacking evolution tonight. I sure will.
How? Did y'all see that mistake?
yeah, she's saying it goes with science, but then you're gonna attack science. You're gonna attack evolution,
Which is a scientific fact, right?
It goes against the principle of science. Again, fundamentally, at the moment you interject the supernatural, you're no longer engaging in science. Science is a separation of the natural and the supernatural world and seeks to provide natural explanations for natural phenomena. So there is no way that these two concepts can walk next to each other. It's just not possible.
I don't see, and I think this is where the confusion always comes into play. That they come out of nowhere with this. And the funny part about it is, as they attack science and call it the white man thing, they're actually using the white man pseudoscience. That's what's completely ha ha he he. So let me finish this off.
And if you guys want to donate, that is my Cash App. So let's get started and let's do it. All right, so I'm getting ready to share my screen. I did a presentation for you guys. Oops, I pushed the wrong one. Present, share screen. All right.
I did a fake presentation for you guys. I gave you the googly gauze, boogly bar for you guys. You know, we're gonna when science is done right, and come on, man. Evolution, right? Biological evolution. Matter of fact, Charles Darwin's work is the foundation of modern biology, which falls in the category of science. So if you're discrediting biology and the science, you tripping, knock it off.
Right. The entire field of biology makes no sense without evolution, right? So if you're going to get rid of evolution, say goodbye to genetics, say goodbye to microbiotics, say goodbye to everything that we understand today inside of modern biology, right? So it just makes absolutely no sense.
Reproduction ceases. Every generation, there's a slight mutation, a different reorganization, a change in allele groups. So reproduction doesn't exist if evolution doesn't exist. We're not here. It's like the foundation of everything that we call reality and nature on this planet is based on this foundation. So you can't take it away.
So, all right, so go ahead, Brendan, put up that first slide, man. Let's get this organized right into the sweet spot, man. Since we have accepted the fact that Shorty's just out of our mind at this point.
Let's go ahead and do that. All right. So let me know if you guys can actually see this.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep, got you.
Yeah. So in terms of what this series we're going to open up and frame the conversation, right, is we're going to call it Science Denial on Trial, right? So one of the common themes throughout her entire presentation was this whole idea that she was going to juxtapose intelligent design, right, which is a religious-based explanation for the origins of life that relies on a literal interpretation of the Bible's account in Genesis, right? That gives this whole idea that the universe, the planets, and all of life was basically literally created in 6 days, right? And on top of the intelligent design pieces, right, she added the idea of the young earth creationism, right? Which again, right, that takes that literal interpretation of the Bible and says that the earth was created between 6,000 and 12,000 years, right? We know where the origins of that comes from, and I think you've got the source, the person that initially came up with that, right? And this whole young earth theory, of course, it goes into direct contradiction with science when it says that, the earth was created in roughly 4.5 billion years, which is pretty much verifiable by scientific techniques such as radiometric dating.
Yeah.
Right. In these dialogue that intelligent design is masquerading as science, but it is not science. It's post hoc rationalization, shoehorning, and there are no novel testable predictions. It is not science, and we have the court cases to prove it.
Right. And as well, in terms of this whole idea about the age of the earth and the age of the universe, right, there's this whole stance against the Big Bang theory as well. right? And that sort of goes into this whole idea of this conspiracy theory thinking, right? This idea that there's collusion between the people in physics, there's collusion between astrophysics, geologists. What they're doing, that they're hiding this claim that they're hiding the true age of the universe and the earth to give credence to the theory of evolution.
Yeah.
Right, so of course, this is Pseudo Killas at the movie. We're going to go ahead and give our disclaimer, right? The 1976 disclaimer, say this is all for fair use for criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, and scholarship, which is a strong word for what we do, right? So we always get that disclaimer out there. Make sure we don't get any strikes. Now, brother said you wanted to sort of tee up the conversation with your slide regarding methodological naturalism, right? So I went ahead and created a good slide for you to maybe just open up with that, because it sort of lends to some of the stuff that we talked about earlier in the show. This whole idea that science has to be rooted in something that is observable from the physical world, right? The idea that you can't interject things that are supernatural into science. It goes against some of the basic tenets. So I'll go ahead and hand it off to you for this particular piece of the slide. And anyone that's interested in these sources we're going to put up, we actually started adding the QR codes to our slides to make it really easy for the audience to grab these particular sources that we're using. So we want to make sure that everybody has this information as tools in your tool belt when you're having similar conversations with your family and friends.
Yes, I wanted to start to frame the conversation around the philosophy and the concept of what science is, what it means, and what it does not do, in terms of us being aware when we hear certain conversations taking place. And again, it's based on the foundation of methodological naturalism. Why methodological naturalism? Science, by definition, is limited to natural causes, events, and explanation. Mainstream science seeks our best explanation of the world without considering God. That's the fundamental aspect of these conversations that we must remember. Any interjection of God, we are moving away from science. Currently, science does not search for all sorts of truths. We hear that also being interjected into these conversations regularly. Rather, science is limited effort to explain the world on its own terms. Hear carefully, without invoking God, his actions, his intelligent designs. There is a line in the sand in science where consideration of God is explicitly disallowed by methodological naturalism. Okay, and again, let's go to this last little piece here. The culture war over theism versus atheism, traditional values versus secular progressivism, and transcendent versus material reality has focused on science as its prize. This is what we're seeing, people trying to use science to sell us their religion. And the question is, who gets to define science? And the answer is simple: for the foreseeable future, scientists gets to define science. Partly to stay out of the culture wars, science has defined science to include methodological naturalism. This rule, again, is a sign in the land that excludes both claims of creationism and theism from science itself. And you can see the source right there if you want to read the article. And this is the book from which it comes. You can get that information to root yourself in this principle as a warning sign when you hear people interjecting God into a scientific conversation.
Yeah, I really like the caveat when it added the whole idea of excluding both theism and atheism, right? So this whole idea that, you know, that if you're gonna adhere to the tenets of science, that you have to somehow give up your theology or give up your religious worldview, that's just something that's not true, right? You don't have to give up your scientific world or your religious worldview. The problem is that you can't interject your religious worldview when you're doing science, right? And as well, you can't interject your atheistic worldview into science, right? Both have to stay out of it, right? So this is one of those things that we hear over and over, this idea that, hey, if I embrace evolution, or if I embrace the Big Bang Theory, which stands in direct contradiction to some of the tenets of the Bible, then what am I going to do without my biblical worldview or my religious worldview, which a lot of people, they're tied to that based on their identity, right? And for us, we're saying that no, you can keep your identity as a religious person and all that. There's nothing inside of science that makes you relinquish that, right?
As a matter of fact, if God were to appear right now in our program, it would not make evolution not true. Evolution would still be a fact of the natural world, even if God was to appear in front of us today. So we're not trying to take anyone's God away from them. However, you cannot use your God to go against the natural process and the way nature operates. I yield the floor.
That was the thing. If y'all go back and listen to it, that was the thing, that we're some kind of way trying to take their God from them. That some kind of way that the atheists are attacking. No, we're using a tool that human beings came up with. Okay, over time, it built to get to this point. They didn't just pop out the damn womb practicing science, right? It took early innovation, observation of nature, human beings put together, and then they finally get to the point where they can separate it from their religion. That's the rule that you have to, when you go into the lab, you got to leave your atheism, you got to leave everything right there and deal with the data. No God of the gaps, no, well, it can't be this. No, that's not science. So people will misuse the tool of science. That's not what we come to do. At no point did we say you could not be an Israelite or Christian or Black Christian nationalist. I ain't never said that. Well, I don't know. I'm saying these days, now as we sit before you.
We're maturing. We're maturing in our old age.
We're separating the two, and it's called maturity. In your development as an atheist, you go through this phase where you're radical. Anybody mentions God, you're ready to chew their head off. Yeah. At a certain point, you reach to the understanding that the believing brain, you have beliefs and let them be. The problem becomes when, again, you use your religion to try and argue reality.
Right.
That becomes a problem.
Yeah, basically believe what you want. You know what I'm saying? Just keep it out the science classroom. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing that y'all can come up with to replace it that's going to work at all. So, I mean, it's basically simple, man. Just keep it out the science classroom, yo. You can believe whatever the hell you want to believe. You can believe dragons flying through the air and all that shit, but you're going to have to come up with some evidence for that if you're trying to put it in the science book.
Right. And I also want to hit on the whole idea about methodological rationalism as well, because I think it's really powerful. And in terms of how it really, I did a little bit of research on that, the particular concept, right? And it sort of undergirds science. This whole idea, we've talked about it, and it's very intuitive. It's an intuitive match for science. And it says for any claim to be scientific, right? Of course, it has to be evidence-based, it has to be testable, falsifiable, and subject to peer review, right? Those are some of the major tenets of methodological rationalism. And for me, it just makes sense that the two, that and science sort of are a good match together. So
I wanted to interject that when we're having the discussion about God separately from science, and then we're talking about atheists, then we enter into the realm of using tools like methodological rationalism. Then we're using critical thinking. Then we're applying the logical syllogisms and these type of arguments which support the position of the atheist, which is either I do not believe your claims or there is insufficient evidence to support your claims, right? But again, when we're discussing science, Atheism stays out of that realm. And we get too often in the discussion of theism, when we're using rational arguments and the foundation of logic, it is often swayed into science, which creates a false dichotomy, creating the illusion that we're trying to take people's God from them. No, you can have your God.
Yeah, I just wanted to make that point clear, because that was the thing running through, and then she had the backup singers behind her.
Oh.
They didn't really have a voice, but they was definitely the backup singers with the complete foolery. They made a lot of outlandish statements, right? Like freaking frat or something. They was freaking fratting. Had no idea, had no presentation. At least we got something we can beat up. You know what I'm saying? But them two dudes, oh man, oh man, listen, man. Listen. So for the record, for the community, we're not trying to take your pseudo gods away from you. The gods that you just make up in your head. Of course, all gods are made up from your head, but I'm saying there are gods that you can actually find in text. And then there are gods that people just put together that ain't reached the stage of making it into a text, right? We're not trying to take any of that away. We're simply saying, for instance, if you're talking about light, then there's some scientific principles around what light is. Humans already know that. We don't need you to interject your God with that. Simple. So where we at now? Science, who got this? This you?
Yeah, I got this one. We wanted to sort of frame the conversation around the science denial piece as well. And as you sort of listen to the conversations that they were having over on the channel, right? It becomes readily apparent that that's what they're engaging in. They're really engaging in science denial, right? And this is from the wiki that sort of defines what denialism is, and it sort of goes into science denial, right? Denialism as it relates to science. So I want to go ahead and read this. And again, I got the QR codes here. You guys want to pull this up. And this particular article inside of wiki is really well sourced. And at the bottom here, there's another QR code to an article in Nature Medicine that goes in depth in terms of science denial. So it says in psychology, in the psychology of human behavior, denialism is a person's choice to deny reality as a way to avoid a psychologically uncomfortable truth. Denialism is an essentially irrational action that withholds the validation of a historical experience or event when a person refuses to accept an empirically verifiable reality, right? So is any of this sort of sound familiar here, right? So in science, it says denialism is the rejection of basic facts and concepts that are undisputed, well-supported parts of the scientific consensus on a subject in favor of ideas that are radical, controversial, or fabricated, right? So there's many instances in terms of science denial. I'm quite sure you guys are familiar with like Holocaust denial, AIDS denial, the people who deny the existence of climate change based on human activity and the burning of fossil fuels. And it says at the very bottom, says the motivations and causes of denialism include religion, self-interest, which is either economic, political, or financial, and defense mechanisms meant to protect the psyche of the denialist against mentally disturbing facts and ideas. Such disturbance is called cognitive dissonance in psychology terms. So again, right, we've had some of these conversations before, this whole idea about cognitive dissonance and the hiding or the denial of facts or uncomfortable truths, right, based on like something going against your biblical worldview or something going against your political worldview, might I add, right? If you really think about this, and we're going to really dig into the science denial, and the blueprint for this was initially created by the tobacco lobby. This was way back when science initially discovered that the use of tobacco products was one of the major causes of cancer, right? And there's a blueprint that was created by the tobacco lobby, right, that a lot of these organizations and a lot of these movements are actually using, right, to deny science on, right, and it's basically motivationally driven, right, whether if it's finance, whether if it's political or religious. Right? So science denial and evolution, right? So I'll go ahead and read this as well. It says religious beliefs may prompt an individual to deny the validity of the scientific theory of evolution. It says evolution is considered an undisputed fact within the scientific community and in academia, where the level of support for evolution is essentially universal. Yet this view is often met with opposition by biblical literalists. The alternative view is often presented as a literal interpretation of the book of Genesis creation myth. Of course, this is essentially what we're seeing verbatim, right? It says many fundamentalist Christians teach creationism as if it were fact under the banner of creation science and intelligent design. Beliefs that typically coincide with creationism include the belief in the global flood myth, geocentrism, and the belief that the earth is only 6,000 to 10,000 years old. These beliefs are viewed as pseudoscience in the scientific community and are widely regarded as erroneous. Right? So we had to go ahead and do that. So again, this is the QR code. You guys gonna actually want to go and see this. All right, so we wanted to use the wiki because again, right, it's very hard to get past Wikipedia, right? Especially when a lot of these articles are well sourced, and this one is. Now,
go and tell you pseudoscience. That's funny. He was saying we want to use science, not pseudoscience.
Right. And here's another book I wanted to actually present to the family. And this was actually written by an author named Lee McInerney. I think he's a PhD out of Boston University. And here I think it's available on Audible, and it talks about, how to talk to us. The title is How to Talk to a Science Denier. And within this, right, it talks about those 5 common erroneous mistakes that are made. And this is what I was just mentioning about the tobacco lobby. This is the blueprint for science denial. Right, you hold up this whole idea of cherry picking evidence, right? This idea that, okay, well, we can go with the scientific evidence, but only the evidence that doesn't go against this biblical narrative. Like for instance, like if anything outside, like again, the very cherry picking of evidence is what seems to be really, we're seeing a lot of that, right? And one of the problems with that is what I was seeing is that these guys want absolute precision. They want mathematical precision for any evidence that goes against their narrative, right? But for evidence that actually supports the young earth or something that supports the biblical narrative, they want little to no evidence supporting those claims.
They rely on presupposition, claims, and arbitrary assertions.
Exactly. Again, the belief in conspiracy theories, this whole idea, we kept hearing this idea that, they're hiding this history from you, or there's collusion, right, to hide the age of the true age of the earth, right? Say the scientific community, geologists, you're talking about evolutionary scientists, we're talking about the medical field. All these people are in collusion to hide the true identity of the earth, to really substantiate or to undergird the theory of evolution, right? Reliance on fake experts, right? Reliance on people that are these creation scientists, right? Exactly. And the denigration or the discrediting of the real experts. We see that,
they
right?
rely on this. Creation science doesn't have, if they have an explanation for observed phenomena, it's post hoc, because evolution already have the novel testable predictions. But what you see them doing mostly is not actually presenting anything. They only try to undermine the established evidence and theories and hypotheses that exist. They don't have anything themselves. They simply try to discredit, create reasonable doubt. I heard last in a podcast.
Oh, absolutely. And what you just mentioned, post hoc rationalization, right? The committing of logical errors, right? Post hoc rationalization is one. The straw man argument, we hear that a lot. all of these, in terms of what red herrings, right? There, all of these basic logical errors, these errors in reasoning we hear within their arguments, right? And of course, the last one, which I think is really interesting, setting impossible expectations regarding what science can do, right? This whole idea, I heard one of the creation scientists or one of the guys, I think his name was Ken Ham. He's one of the major proponents of intelligent design. And one of his major talking points is that, hey, none of you scientists were there 4.5 billion years ago. How can you be certain? You weren't there. We would need a scientist to be there 4.5 billion years ago to attest to the age of the earth, right? Which again, that's setting those impossible expectations regarding science, what science can do.
When believe a document that starts off by saying, in the beginning, there was the word was God, and the word was with God, and God said, let there be light. There was no one there, possibly, to hear that being spoken. In the vacuum of space, there is no sound. So they do not use the same measuring sticks or the same values to equate information. There's obviously a very, very biased narrative happening here. The standards that they apply to science, which again is a straw man in of itself, because science does not seek to prove anything. They merely seek to provide explanations for phenomena that we observe.
Right, absolutely, right. It's the whole double standard, right, regarding what information they can accept, right, and all of that. So we'll go ahead and go. But you guys go ahead and pick this up. This was a really easy listen. It's very interesting. It has the author, he talks about him actually going to a flat earth convention and sort of, going through this whole idea of science denial with the flat earth, with climate change. He's got a lot of different use cases in here. I thought it was an interesting read. All right.
Yeah.
So now we're going to go over to this. These are your slides, Unc, in terms of the Scopes monkey trial. We'll go ahead and move into this one if you wanted to tee this one off.
So yeah, hey Kent, where you at, Kent?
Yo.
You wanted to talk about the Scopes monkey trial?
Yeah, man. Basically, man, it was a trial that was planned. It was really a publicity stunt by the town fathers of Dayton, Tennessee. You know what I'm saying? Basically, they wanted to bring some business to the city. And with this trial, with the controversy of this trial, because they had just passed, what was it, the Tennessee Butler Act, the monkey laws. Because of that controversy, it was going to bring a lot of attention, get a lot of people, get a lot of money rolling in the town and all of that. But what they did was, it was a guy named John Thomas Scopes. They picked him out. They said, hey, we need you to teach this evolution or whatever. And, they're going to find you. They're going to say that you're breaking the law or whatever, this monkey law that they have. And basically it's going to have everybody tuning into this whole trial. Right. But I'm going to read this junk right here because I had something else I was looking at. All right, so it says the Scopes monkey trial started as an effort by the ACLU to challenge the constitutionality of Tennessee law that forbade teaching the theory of evolution in public schools. The Tennessee Supreme Court found the law forbidding the teaching of evolution to be constitutional. In 1968, the U.S. Supreme Court found a similar law in Arkansas to be a violation of the First Amendment. In this photo, Evangelist T.T. Martin. Okay, that's the photo to the right? In this photo, Evangelist T.T. Martin's books against the theory of evolution are sold in Dayton, Tennessee, at the Scopes trial. The guy William Jennings Bryant was the prosecutor, or he was on the side of the prosecutor. You had Clarence Darrow on the side of the defense, and basically, man, he told William Jennings Bryant like a new asshole. He fucked him up at trial, or messed him up. I mean, he messed him up in the trial. Basically, got him to get on the stand as a witness in the trial. The dude, he was a very good speaker. He could, change the crowd's opinion with just being able to speak properly. He had the gift of gab. And when he got him on the stand, he started asking him questions about his religion. questions in the Bible that the guy believed because they thought it was fundamental. He was a fundamental Christian or whatever. So he was a fundamentalist. So he asked some things about Jonah and the whale. Like, do you really believe Jonah and the whale is a real story that a fish, ate a whole man? And he was like, do you believe God created this fish specifically to eat Jonah? He asked him about the sun being created on the fourth day. How you get, 24 hours a day. You got 7 days God created the world, but he created the sun on the fourth day. Like, how do you get 24 hours if you don't have a sun? He asked him about, what was it? Creation. So basically the dude, William Jennings Bryan, tried to save it. And he was like, yo, one day could be 1,000 years. It could have took millions of years for, God to create these things. And at that point he had him, because now he kind of sided with Darwin, saying that it could have took millions of years for evolution to happen. I don't know if y'all understood that right.
Yeah, I think this was a really interesting. No, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Boomerang dagger.
Yeah, and he had to kind of, because the dude was making them look real silly with asking them questions about, like, it's just simple stuff that, like, you wouldn't even believe this shit if somebody came up and told you, like, yo, a fish ate a whole man. Like, wouldn't nobody believe that? But y'all believe it because the Bible said it. So yeah, he started
right. And I think and you guys actually put me on to this particular case. I didn't know anything about this until we had a conversation in our Pseudo Killer back chat. I say again, these guys have been, you guys have been studying and following intelligent design and evolution for a lot longer than I have in detail. And one of the things that was interesting about this particular case for me is that this was sort of like this litmus test. They knew that this particular case wouldn't overthrow this whole idea or this ban on teaching evolution outright, right? What the purpose of this particular case was to get the topic, or to get this issue actually up to a higher court, right? They wanted to actually get this up to a higher court so that they could actually talk about the constitutionality or the unconstitutionality of this ban against teaching evolution in schools.
Right. And then one of the questions he asked him, because I heard that 6,000 year thing from I forgot her name, Naphtali or whatever her name is. And he said, how's the earth only 6,000 years old when you got Chinese cultures that lasted longer than that? So it's like he was just hitting them with common sense shit that you just can't even get around. What ended up happening, of course, they found the guy guilty of teaching evolution, because that's what really the trial was about, whether or not he broke the law. But that wasn't the goal. The goal was to take it to a higher court and then get the whole law just taken out altogether. So eventually I think it was like, 40 years later, 1960 something, they ended up taking down the whole law or doing away with it.
Say it again.
Then they do away with the law in like 1960 something. It took them like 40 years to get the law taken down.
They had a couple more trials. I'm gonna speak on that a little bit after you finish.
Yeah. I think you're right. It's like a 68. This actually made it all the way to the Supreme Court, right? Finding that the ban, and this was a law in Arkansas, it found it as a violation of the First Amendment. So, yep, eventually overturned and through history. So let's go to the next trial. All right. This is the Dover Intelligent Design case.
So this is great right here. Because I find it very interesting that a Black Hebrew Israelite contingent would actually run straight to fundamentally white Christian organizations to give them a platform, right, to teach pseudoscience. Like, if you're a Black Hebrew Israelite, you claim you're the original, then why would you have to use some discredited Christians? I find that to be completely absurd. So let me share my screen here to give you a what it was. And it's interesting. And I'm going to move through this smoothly because the whole thing is buffoonery. So we'll just come right here. This is the First Amendment. This is a great resource for everybody. It's an EDU site, the First Amendment. Okay, the First Amendment Encyclopedia, great resource. Put this in your file. All right, put in your pseudo killer file, Real Black Atheist file. Great. Has all the cases, everything you want to read over it. Okay, we're not going to do all that here, but I just want to give you a good platform, good foundation. Miller versus Dover Area School District. Okay, and there, if you see in here, the first thing they start off with, what Ken talked about, one of the most famous American trials of the 20th century was the Scopes Monkey Trial, 1925. And it was talking about, the Tennessee law designed to limit the teaching of evolution in public schools. So they actually was producing laws that stopped you from teaching what? Evolution. That's crazy, right? So it was almost like in that time period, 1925, they didn't realize that evolution, right, was part of scientific discipline. Amazing, right? And at this point, at 1925, proves the point that although Charles Darwin theory, okay, had been readily tested to that point, right, people in the general public in the school systems still wasn't willing to accept it, no more than it is today, right? So it just come right here, it talks about PA school district introduces, this is when they introduced intelligent design curriculum, drawing the First Amendment challenge. So they basically say we got the right to say what we want to say. And they was trying to act like that intelligent design wasn't creation science, right? They actually wrote a textbook and took out, you could literally see them, they literally took out the words creationism and supplanted it with intelligent design. They ain't even rewrite the textbook. That's how they really got caught. They're like, wait a minute, man, y'all just took the words out and switched them. Crazy, right? So right here, it says, one of the school districts sought to introduce its students to such intelligent design was the Dover Area School District in York County, Pennsylvania. The board adopted the following policies with administrators. Biology teachers had refused to participate. So the biology teachers like, man, we ain't doing that. Y'all tripping. It say, read to each 9th grade biology class the following statements. So this is what they was trying to make them do. They was trying to read these statements to such stuff like, say the Pennsylvania Academic Standard requires students to learn about Darwin's theory of evolution and eventually to take a standardized test to which evolution is a part. It say because Darwin's theory is a theory, see how they're trying to do it? It continues to be tested as new evidence is discovered. It say the theory is not a fact. See? It say gaps in the theory exist for which there is no evidence. It say a theory is defined as a well-tested explanation that unifies a broad range of observations. It says intelligent design is an explanation of the origin of life that differs from Darwin's view. First of all, here's a great mistake here. Intelligent design, right, does not give you the origin of life, right? And it does differ from Charles Darwin because Charles Darwin wasn't talking about the origin of life. He was talking about what life does after it gets to Earth. Two separate things, one scientific, one religious, right? Okay, it says, with respects to any theory, students are encouraged to keep an open mind. So they want you to keep an open mind about religion. Remember what we just talked about earlier? That, check this out, man. Talking about evolution and science don't got nothing to do with your God. Right? Like your mind doesn't have to close nor open. You simply have to just understand science. Goes on to say, in respect to the theory, students encouraged to keep an open mind. It said the school leads the discussion of the origin of life to individual students and their families as a standard-driven district. Class instruction focuses upon preparing the students to achieve proficiency on standards-based assessment. They say the action subsequently challenged in the U.S. District Court held voluminous hearings involving experts in the field over a 3-month period. The U.S. District Judge rules required ID class violations established clause. They say it issued a decision in this case. Okay, that's the case. Y'all can actually look that up. I suggest y'all actually look that up, right, and get it and read it for yourself. In which it decided that the new approach, like the ones the court had rejected earlier, also violated the Establishment Clause as applied to states via the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment. Judge E. John E. Jones III, okay, Republican, appointed by George W. Bush, crafted a decision in this case which resulted in a permanent injunction against the requirement. So this is a very, very important case in American history. All of them was. And they was actually trying to introduce and push intelligent design over matters of science, evolution. And so I'm not tripping when the general public or the African Americans fight that fight, but just know and make this be clear, right? They lost in court. They lost. So to try to bring that back up, those same tactics, using those same types of organizations that is clearly lost, is disingenuous to the Black community. So you're actually bringing something up that it was that got knocked out the box completely. And for sure, right? So watch this. As you come to the Journal of Nature real quick, it says Georgia court bans biology textbook stickers. This is important. Did you know they actually had stickers in textbooks? Evolution is a theory, not a fact stickers. Look, remember I read that to you? Look, evolution is a theory, not a fact sticker, banned from textbooks. They had to ban that because they were sticking them in the things. They were sticking them in the textbooks. This is crazy, right? This is in what, 2005. All right, so now we 20, 25 years later, and you got Black Hebrew contingent trying to do what already has been kicked out of the school system. But watch this though. This is funny. You come here, look, but Alabama now, you saw how far they behind, retains its evolutionary disclaimer. So Alabama, they still got, look, in March, look, 2016, the meeting of Alabama State Board of Education, they actually voted on it, and they want to keep their stickers in their books. It's funny. Alabama, they real slow behind in the school systems. And I think the thing that makes this whole thing so unfair, right, is that say you're Muslim, say you're Buddhist, say you have an African-centered Ifa, right? Say you Ifa, right? They talk about the Christian God when they talk about ID and intelligent design. So I just want to show y'all some websites so that y'all can make yourself familiar with the foolery that Nafali and them is putting out. They're actually putting out discredited information, all right? And I just want to run through here real quick so y'all can see where the rubber actually meets the road at. And this is important so that y'all know what y'all looking at, all right? It's the game they playing. You know, we're tangled where we weave and we practice to deceive. So they're giving you stuff like this, right? We talked about that earlier. The young earth creationism, okay? Is intended that the earth informs was created by the supernatural acts, Abrahamic God, not the Ifa God, not the Indian Hindu God, but the Abrahamic God, okay? And look, 6,000, 10,000 years ago. So actually, Nafali actually came right here. She came to these creation scientists. And it goes on to say, in its most widespread version, is based on the religious beliefs of what? Inherency. Y'all know what inherency is, right?
Without error.
Without error. of certain literary interpretations of certain not so they all interpretations are different, right? Interpretations of the books of Genesis, primary adherents of the Christian and Jews who believe that God created the earth, right, in 6 literal days. So she's running around, right, telling people that the earth was created in 6 days. This is to the Black conscious community she pushing that, and ain't nobody got enough sense on that. So that's one of the things they're using. This is a European, it's pseudoscientific. We talked about that, right? Here you go. It's pseudoscience, has developed a and promoted a pseudoscientific explanation called creation science. See that? This is where the rubber meets the road. Creation science.
Who's Henry Morris?
Would you was reading that one thing? You asked me a question.
Now I'm asking you a question. Who's Henry Morris? He's the guy that come up with it. Can you click on his picture? Let's see who he is.
You mean on here? Yeah, I done got off the thing already.
You got off it? Okay, then forget it.
Oh, we know. What are you talking about? Right here?
Henry Morris, right there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, you want Henry?
Oh.
Yeah, I want that.
White man science.
Yeah, so I'm just very confused. Now, y'all go to the article right there. I'm just very confused at this point. So yeah, Henry Morris, man. I mean, yeah, Henry Morris. He's the creator of it, right? So okay, so we go. So it's pseudoscientific. She talked about she doesn't want to mess with pseudoscientific stuff. Well, it tells you right here it's pseudoscientific, right? And I'm gonna end it with this. So we talked about the Dover trial, and they was trying to introduce this, ladies and gentlemen. Here you go. Intelligent design, ID. Look, it's a pseudoscientific argument for the existence of God, presented by its proponents as the evidence-based scientific theory. Why do they always gotta do this? Evidence-based by its proponents. They're trying to use scientific evidence-based theories, but they're not using them.
But let me ask this redundant question once again. Did the young lady, who is, in my opinion, a little slow on her comprehension, said that she trusts science as long as it's not pseudoscience?
Yes, she actually said that. That was her point. She said that. And so watch this. I would like you to see this. So Discovery Institute, these are what they're using, ladies and gentlemen. They're using Discovery Institute, ID, right? Look at this. It's a politically conservative nonprofit think tank based in Seattle, Washington, that advocates, look, this is what they advocate, a pseudoscientific concept of intelligent design. So intelligent design is a pseudoscientific nonprofit organization.
But this very smart young lady stood on the foundation of loving science as long as it's not pseudoscience. Yet here we are.
So JJ and all them, they all use this, they think they're doing. Let me show y'all what it looked like. Okay. All right. There you go. I just want y'all to get a good eye for. They got all intelligent design. They got all the stuff against evolution, and they run it off as if it was scientific. Okay. It's all over here. Everything you need to know. Okay. The Discovery Institute. Don't forget that. Right. There's some videos. Okay. That's actually on YouTube that is made by Discovery Institute, and you don't even know it unless you look into it. All right, when they beating up Charles Darwin, and they use your history against you. For instance, like when they talk about how they used the human zoo, right near the end of the program, I'll show you the human zoo. That particular document was produced by the Discovery Institute, pseudoscientific. So they weave truth and falsehood together. They pulled at your heartstrings. Yeah, they used to put black people in zoos because of Charles Darwin. See,
they try to connect Darwin with eugenic. What is it?
Yeah.
Eugenic.
Yes. Yes.
They tried to use the eugenesis, survival of the fittest theory, as the same as of Darwin's theory of fitness for your environment. You see, but Darwin wasn't talking about man eat man or dog eat dog or the toughest or the baddest one is going to be on top. He wasn't talking about that. What he was talking about was being actually suited for your environment, meaning reaching the age of reproduction that you pass on your genes. Two different concepts.
Right. But a lot of times he gets thrown in there with that. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a distinction between him, what he taught, and what the person that came up with eugenics.
Yeah. Two totally different ideas and foundation. And you can hear, when you hear the word Darwinism, your ears should peak up to know you're getting into pseudo territory. There is no such thing as Darwinism, but they equate that to the pseudo-scientific race-based science, and they try to lump Darwin all in there, which is completely false.
Right. And the concept of eugenics being tied to social Darwinism, quote unquote. Right. Yeah. So that's a big distinction there, right? You know, that's what social Darwinism and the eugenics movement is something completely divergent from what Darwin was doing.
And from evolution. And you try to shoehorn the one into the next and classify evolution as pseudoscience based on what we know for a fact is pseudoscience. That's disingenuous, young lady.
So this is another website, Creation Science, right? We talked about the Institute of Creation Research. This is what JJ and them are using. Get it in your folder, look through it so you'll know, right? They got all kind of nonsense. Ice Age footprints, step on radiocarbon results, anything. And they fake you out. And it'd be some PhDs. It'd be PhDs, but not in the subjects that they're talking about, right? And if it is, they're pseudoscientists. Right? This is one of their websites. I'm saying I just want to introduce y'all to this material that I've been understood. So every time they come, like here, Ken Ham. I believe Ken Ham actually created this museum. They spent $12 million on this place right here, y'all.
Creation Museum in Kansas.
Yes. We show dinosaurs and humans in the same exhibit. Dinosaurs don't exist at the same time as humans.
And don't forget, we have Kent Hovind, who has the Ark somewhere out in the Midwest also. These are the two proponents of creationism and young Earth theory.
Yeah, and it's right in the playbook that we discussed earlier, right? The use of the fake experts, the idea that, and you just said it, right? You'll have a PhD that's in something completely divergent in terms of what they're talking about, like. I was online looking at one of the intelligent design guys, and they had a PhD on there doing a testimony. He was like, yeah, I'm a technical design engineer. And then he begins to open his mouth talking about biological evolution. And I'm like, clearly a violation, a cross-domain violation at that point, right? So you can't do that, right?
Using mathematical models to prove that DNA doesn't evolve or doesn't produce evolution, and there would be more negative mutations, and you just look at the numbers. It doesn't play out like it doesn't work like that.
So you see Adam or Eve. See? The whole thing, they're playing on your time. But if you listen, the point I want to make here, and I think we're doing a good job now. I just wanted to give you the tools that they're actually using to make their argument. They're using pseudoscientific tools. They're using discredited European information that are playing as if they're scientists. None of this stuff is accepted in science. They don't have published articles in the main journals, right? And no journals. They have their own journal. See, quote unquote, they got their own journal, Creation Science Journal. Craziness. Where they publish their own stuff, not to the scientific community, right? They trick you. This is the master trick. If you ain't up on your game, they can get you. If you're religious, you be like, oh, okay.
Right. Okay. None of their information is published in a credible scientific journal. No. Right. Absolutely none of it.
No novel testable prediction. So any post hoc explanation for phenomena that has already been explained by a theory that is substantiated by novel testable prediction like evolution, they cannot publish because it is factually not a science. So they use the scientific jargon and they create the illusion of, for those who do not understand the principles and the foundation of how science works.
Okay. Okay.
And Unc, I want to read the decision of the judge, right? His closing decision in the Dover case as well, if I can. It's very brief. It's just one paragraph there.
No, go ahead.
Because I think it's really relevant in terms of what we're talking about right now. Let's see if I can share this, and let me know if you guys can see this. I'm going to highlight this.
Yeah, you good.
All right. It says, after examining the testimony of witnesses, Jones, this is the judge, concluded that while intelligent design arguments may be true, right, a proposition on which the court takes no position, intelligent design is not science. He explained that the theory violated scientific method by invoking and permitted supernatural causation. That goes to the methodological naturalism we talked about, right? That the argument of irreducible complexity central to intelligent design employs the same flawed and illogically contrived dualism that doomed creation science in the 1980s. Right. Again, we say that, creation science and intelligent design are essentially the same concept. Right. And its attacks on evolution have been refuted by the scientific community. He further said that intelligent design has failed to gain acceptance in the scientific community. It has not generated peer-reviewed publications, nor has it been the subject of testing and research. He further believed that intelligent design advocates had ignored much of the evidence that could explain apparent gaps. And again, there's the cherry picking of information right there. So in this one paragraph, this sums up a lot of those erroneous sort of errors in logic and reasoning that we talked about earlier in the show. So, but I think that was a really powerful paragraph. We had to get that in front of the people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That sums it all up.
Look, yo, they spent 37 million on this, yo. They got money. While the Black Hebrew Israelites is broke, they got 37 million to put up a pseudo-scientific museum, right? Crazy. The museum costs 37 million. The museum promotes young Earth creationist beliefs, including pseudo-scientific arguments linking the Grand Canyon and the Earth geology to the Genesis flood. See, he's gonna try to hit y'all with that. We just want to be in front of the curve, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. But watch this. Hold on. Y'all thought I was playing, right? Here you go. Look, I know y'all got tricked by this. The human zoo. I bet you. Put a 1 in the chat if you've seen this before. The forgotten history of scientific racism. I know they got y'all with this. Raw Bourne tried to use this to give me, he didn't know. I say, Raw Bourne, you can't use that, Raw.
That was about what?
Fight against Darwin.
About 3 years ago on
Yeah, I gave him a break because that's my man, yo. But come on, man, Jesus Christ! Look, man, how many views just got? Y'all swear it's scientific. Look, 3 million, over 3 million views, yo. 3,747,400. Look at that.
55,000 likes.
Look at that, yo. This is a pseudo-scientific document. Y'all didn't know that. Look, the Discovery Science. Now watch this. This is how we doing. First of all, here's their website. All right. Okay. Boom. And I want y'all to go ahead and look through this so y'all know what this is the high level pseudo, ladies and gentlemen.
Appeal to emotion at its finest.
Level pseudoscience right here, y'all. High level pseudoscience. Yeah, we're not playing. Watch this. Now, this looks familiar. Watch this. All right. There you go. See? Didn't I just see the same thing? They're selling the same types of books. Look, Discovery Institute. See, y'all not familiar with that, huh? Look, they're gonna fake you out. Look at the pictures. Look, why are they using? Look, the pillars of. Look at this. Look, intelligent design matters. Why intelligent design matters? Look, Cosmic Frank triple. What's this? Templar on the singularity. Atheists try to evade. Look, see, this is the stuff they're trying to use. evolution engineering the human body. Impossible. Look, they got all the articles, right? They cannot get away. Look, academic freedom, resources, education, research. This is all pseudo-scientific material, ladies and gentlemen. But you need to see the pseudoscience to know what pseudoscience is. That's why I'm always able to catch it. That's why the pseudo killers got you. Because everything that the African American is trying to use has already been discredited. It's a simple formula, ladies and gentlemen. We got all the answers to the test. Look, evolutionary news. I'm pretty sure y'all ran across this. Look, thinking it was the real website. Look, it's very crispy, very organized, well-organized lie.
It feeds a disorganized truth.
Every time. This is well-organized, y'all. All this material on here is pseudoscientific intelligent design. This is what all of them are trying to use against us. Look, everything. Evolution by Dr. Ann. They're not talking evolution. They're talking nonsense, ladies and gentlemen. Neuroscience, mind, brain science, consciousness didn't evolve. Integration, evolution, physics. Look, man, listen, man.
And what I noticed too, because a lot of times they'll get that one scientist that agrees with what they're talking about. Like the websites like these, the people that's behind it, they'll find a few of them that'll say, "Oh yeah, you know, intelligent design is true," but scientists can be wrong too.
However,
I don't mean the science.
PhD he got in front of his name. If you go and check his actual work that earned him that PhD, there is none of that nonsense mentioned in his professional work.
Yeah,
so they come on these programs or they write these articles, but it's not what got them their PhD. So they know how to leave God at the door to earn that PhD.
Yeah, because I saw one on it that said astrophysicist that was explaining something about, but even if they are in that field, that just means the scientist is wrong. It doesn't mean that the science is wrong. That's all.
Right. And that's the importance of the scientific consensus, right? So we talked about this all the time, right? So that we don't have to rely on the one scientist or the one study or the one article, right? The consensus is important.
They'll use that. They're like, well, see, he's an astrophysicist, and he said God started it. Yeah, all right.
Right. I'm not interested in what one particular astrophysicist says. Right. I'm interested in what the state of the field is, right?
That's a hard sign in any discussion when you see the name dropping start to happen of particular or individual scientists and their opinions. What we do over here is we refer you to a body of work which is based on what the consensus is at the time in the field. We never refer you to the opinions of an individual a scientist, because again, by means of consensus, we can talk about a particular subject.
So y'all do see this, right? This is exactly what Kent was talking about. That's underneath it, I can't see. Intelligent design, scientists agree. It says our universe and life were produced by intelligent design, not unguided evolution. Well, I keep saying your evolution has nothing to do with how life was produced, y'all. Okay, but they keep making that mistake. It says this site exists to document the mounting scientific evidence for nature's intelligent design. Through this site, you can explore the evidence for intelligent design for yourself. Now, it says scientists support intelligent design. Y'all see that? Y'all can watch the videos. You gotta look at stuff like this so you know how to deal with stuff like this. This is what they have nothing else to use but this. Math versus Darwin. I've seen this one. Y'all probably ain't seen this one. I've had people try to use this against me. That's a real guy right there. Talking about the math. Y'all never seen that? Go over there. Right? So
evidence supporting intelligent design. That statement itself is an oxymoron, right? How do you have physical evidence for a supernatural event?
Right, something that happened that we can't go back and see. Remember they said
it's a supernatural event, supernatural causation. How do you have physical evidence for a supernatural event?
How?
Everything we see by the definition of God, he exists outside of reality. So in reality, God doesn't exist. So again, evidence for the supernatural by means of the natural. We go right back to methodological naturalism. If there is no observable phenomena, what is there to explain? If there is no observable phenomena, how do you develop an hypothesis? If it is supernatural, how do you test these claims? And what sort of novel, testable prediction can you provide? The answer is zero. It rests on presupposition, claims, and empty assertions. That is not
and again, your religious tradition does not require physical evidence.
No,
it doesn't require that. I don't know why. Do not burden yourself, right, with what we do in science, right? It's a religious worldview. It's based on faith. It's faith-based. Right. So it doesn't require physical evidence.
Right. And stop telling people we hate y'all. We don't hate y'all. All good. Like some of my best friends are Christians. Like,
yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Reality is we're dealing with fundamentalism in our community. We all have been to a hospital that's named St. John's Hospital, St. Elizabeth's Hospital, the Jewish Synagogue Hospital. The religious titles of these institutions should be evidence enough that you don't actually have to relinquish your God to be scientifically literate. The only thing we continue to say is you cannot use your God to discredit reality.
So look, let's just stop right here, man. Look, man, hit them cash apps, man. The guy will put them in the chat, man. Hit the cash apps, man. Look, man, I don't understand why we only got 65 likes, yo, with 123,000 people in the damn building, man. Y'all got to knock that off, man. Man, y'all want good, clean, real clean content, and we not just talking at y'all, man. Make sure y'all hit the link. We put the link in there, man. Y'all got any questions, man, to jump on the show, add something to the content, man. We at that part of the show, man. I think it was a very clean show as far as having information that y'all can take time out, right? When you're on your way to work, however you want to do it, pull up these links, man. Take a look at this material, man. You got to be part of the community, man. This is important because we're up against it, man. All right, man. So we're going to take a moment. And man, come on, man. What y'all doing? Y'all got to participate.
I saw a question from Marie Birkins, and it said,
no, read the question yet till they get the likes up. We got 65 likes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
And I also want to share the slide about in terms of all the claims, the laundry list of claims over the next 2 or 3 shows that we're gonna basically be dealing with.
You gonna share it right now till they get them damn likes up.
Oh yeah. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Yeah, get some likes. 65 likes ain't gonna do it, yo. That's
get
not
the likes up, family. Get them likes up. Come on.
No,
we ain't doing that. Like y'all tripping, man. Ain't no way we're gonna sit around and not do nothing.
Yeah, get them likes up, family. We can do this. Come on, 122,000 in the building. Get them likes up.
They get people to come to the video, man. Y'all know how that algorithm's working, all that, man. Y'all know how that go, man.
97 likes, appreciate it. Couple more. Let's get to that 100.
Get to that 100, man, and we can get back.
That was quick.
Yeah, man, come on, man. Come on, yo. Like, what we doing? What we think we doing, yo? It's 100. There you go. Appreciate that, man. That's enough. Sorry, then make sure you hit that cash app, man. Look, we got the. Hey, Brendan, you want to take the first caller, or you want to put the? How you want to do that?
Yeah, let's go ahead. I want to read through this a list of claims that we're gonna debunk, and then right after that, we'll get into this caller. Let's read through this this short list. Well, I say a short list. It's not very short, but again, these are some of the major claims that we're gonna try to knock down over the series of the next so maybe 3 or 4 shows, right? So again, right, the idea that there's no evidence for evolution, right? We've talked a bit about that, but we're going to go to that in depth. That the Younger Dryas was triggered by the biblical flood, right? The Younger Dryas essentially is a cooling event that happened roughly about 12,000 years ago. And then they're saying that particular thing was triggered by the biblical flood. We'll get into that. The current human population members, right? The number of people in the human population supports the young Earth. That's another claim. The claim that living fossils debunk the old Earth theory, right? Number 5 is that Earth's magnetic field is weakening and it's somehow evidence for the young Earth theory, right? Number 6, the moon's recession rate is evidence for the young Earth. All right. Number 7, scientific dating issues, right? So issues with dating as it relates to carbon-14 dating, potassium argon, all these radiometric dating techniques that we use to come up with the 4.5 billion years of the Earth. Number 8, dinosaur soft tissue in fossils is evidence of the young Earth. That was another claim. Number 9, or the origins of life, biogenesis versus abiogenesis. So we'll get into that. Number 10, how are humans related to apes since we can't mate with them?
Oh, man.
Which is somewhat of an absurd claim, but this is a claim that's floated around a lot in the community. I think we could deal with that one sort of in a lighthearted manner. And number 12, the Big Bang was plagiarized from the Bible. So these are some of the major claims that we'll be debunking over the next couple shows or so. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing this.
You say no whack-a-mole.
Oh yeah, no whack-a-mole. Once these are done, we're done with the topics, right? Because again, right, you can go ad nauseum with all of these, this evidence for the for intelligent design, right? And I have no problem with people presenting evidence, right? I have a problem with you denying evidence that debunks your theory. So that's the true problem. So I know the brother, I figure what's the brother's name? Preem. All right, peace. Welcome to the show, Preem.
Peace. What's up, y'all? I kind of wanted to bring the panel in on the sidebar we was having in the chat. So, and I wanted to get y'all opinion on it or get y'all a rebuttal to it. But I also wanted to show the tactics that the pseudoscientific folks use. So we were in there talking about the Big Bang. And so we're going back and forth. We're having a pretty productive conversation, me and Rec One. So we going back and forth. Then this other guy, Chaz, he jumps in and he starts talking about how the mathematics of relativity is incorrect. Like he's talking about how variables are being thrown out. And we're just like, well, variables aren't being thrown out arbitrarily. We learned that in high school. You know how to rework certain expressions and get rid of certain variables to to solve for X, whether it was basic algebra, whether it was geometry, whether it was trigonometry, and calculus. We all learned that at the various stages of high school, basic math. So he keeps on going about how the math is bad. We're going back at him. We're like, well, if the math was bad, how would these predictions that are predicted by relativity, they've been proven through observation? Once we get into the age of the telescopes that they have now, like so much of the Big Bang has been proven is crazy, like the radiation background, things of that nature, space-time bending, like all of these predictions have been proven through observation. So we going back and forth, and the question comes out, well, did you do the math? And I'm like, so I immediately hit him back with, no, I didn't do the math, but the people who did, this is what their conclusion is. So he's saying that pretty much if you didn't do the math, you really can't speak on it. And that's like a telltale tactic. They won't go to the people that have actually done the math, but when it comes to talking to you, they're going to ask you whether you did the math. So I just wanted to put that anecdote out there because they are committed to believing the misinformation. They don't even understand the basic concepts that they're arguing against, but they just want to be anti because it goes against some core value system. Now, it's a couple core value systems. Some of it is religion. Some of it is the contrarianism that goes with just being against the white man or being against the system. You know what I mean? And some of them are just being duped by a slick talker a slick talking pseudoscientist. So like, I wanted to get y'all kind of feedback on that and to kind of just, put that out there like that. Cause the tactics that they use to try to equate religion and science are laughable. And somebody else said, and I'm fond of saying, it's how do you debate against the validity of science on the internet using a cell phone? We all over the world right now communicating with each other through text, visually, and through audio. You can't do that if you don't understand basic concepts. You can't create that if you don't understand the basic concepts of the natural world. It wouldn't be able to do it. You can't do it. You couldn't build a house. You couldn't have running water. You couldn't have electricity coming to your house. You wouldn't be able to build roads. You wouldn't be able to build bridges. Like it's just laughable the extent they go to try to make religion and spirituality on the same level as science. It's just, that's my little rant or whatever. And good work y'all doing. I love y'all, and keep it up. Peace.
That was a good rant. We haven't had a good rant on the show for a while.
A beautiful build, my brother. It starts with, again, I always tend to look at the logic and the critical thinking. You start the conversation by questioning the math and its validity. You're making claims about variables being added and subtracted. Did you do the math? Did you do the math, my brother? And when you cannot stand based on understanding the process, not necessarily having done it, but simply understanding it, and you're debunked, you come full circle and ask me if I've done the math. How is that question logical?
My thing is, how's the math wrong and you can't replace it with anything that works? Like, what is your math? If the math wrong, what did you do? And what have you predicted or created with the math that?
And how would you know it's wrong? Right?
Yeah,
you can do it. How would you know?
You took the words right out of my mouth. Like, you're saying the math wrong as if you did the equation, as if you're equipped to even do the math. You didn't, you cut math class in high school. How are you doing high level calculus? You can't. Well, you don't know what an integral is. You have no idea, but you're trying to tell people, high level mathematicians, that their math is off. You sound like a fool, straight up, bruh.
And it goes, you talked about the byproducts of science, right? In terms of like the cell phone and all the technology that we enjoy, right? And it all goes, for me, it goes to the idea that a lot of us, we like to give the hard work to the adults, right? Everybody likes the idea of being able to live in a sound house, right, without the roof falling in on them. But nobody wants to learn differential calculus, right? It's everybody likes to be able to fly in airplanes and have safe flights, but no one wants to learn aerodynamics and all these things, right? And it comes down to, at the end of the day, right, who are going to be the adults to do this work, right? So and that's it for me, man. It's like it's really astonishing that as a people, we have to be able to say, okay, we can't relinquish the responsibility of doing the science to someone else at this point, right? We have to be able to do it ourselves.
You know what's funny? I watched a football game today, the Ravens against the Cincinnati Bengals. And if a person would say to me, well, how do you know they won? You weren't out there playing. First of all, I'm not qualified to play. That's first point. Second point is I can't qualify to game in professional football. I'm not in the league. I only know what I know as a fan. So everybody on the outskirts of these mathematical equations and people who actually, the community of scientists that participate, you can't stand on the outside and say, you ain't do the math. You got to be qualified, be in that situation to even add your comments to it. That's why science works. Now religion is a little different. All you gotta say is I gotta call them from God.
Yep.
I was sitting in my house and the Spirit came over me, and now I'm teaching the Bible.
Divine inspiration.
Now I'm very influential. Now I got people giving my money, and now we build a church. And now I'm qualified to be a preacher. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that's not how science works. Hey, we got another call in, man. Google Scholar, man. What's up, man? Open that camera, man. What's good, man? Talk to us. What's on your mind?
Peace, Google.
Peace. How y'all doing?
Peace.
Good.
Yeah, I was listening. I was listening. I wanted to give my 2 cents and contribute a little bit to what y'all have going on. I think it was a good build. You all hit on some of the main points. One thing I wanted to emphasize though is that there's a fundamental difference between young Earth creationism and intelligent design, and I feel it's important we make that distinction, because even though they're both actually trying to posit a creator or a designer, there are some differences. Young Earth creationism is more biblical fundamental. That means they go with the 6,000-year Earth, Adam and Eve, that kind of thing. Intelligent design, on the other hand, is a bit more sophisticated. It actually do use some legitimate science. It doesn't go all the way, but it mixes legitimate science with pseudoscience. So they will not necessarily be, for example, young Earth creationists, but they will probably accept even some parts of evolution, but they will couch it in language to say that the origins of it came from a creator, a designer. So it's important, I think, to distinguish between the two.
Yeah, they two separate organizations, two totally separate, different organizations. Both scientific organizations.
I think the difference. I think the main difference in the two is largely political. One's religious and one is political. Like you say, the young Earth guys, they are biblical based, so they're just pretty much, without them really knowing, they're going by the Bible chronology. And they don't know where the 6,000 years came from. They just know that they were taught that the Bible says the Earth is 6,000 years old, and they're not really understanding that 6,000 years is based on the biblical genealogies of Jesus's parents, and tracing Joseph and Mary back to Adam and Eve. And so as far as the intelligent design, that intelligent design comes out of that young Earth movement, because what intelligent design does, that's pretty much a political movement where they're trying to put creationism in schools and teach it as science. That's why, Google Scholar, that you said that they try to mix in the science with the pseudoscience. That's the reason why, because they're trying to get intelligent design taught in science class along with real science. So that kind of is the difference of it in a nutshell.
Yeah, no, I concur. I agree. For the most part, it is more of a political thing. But at the end, they're both basically trying to prove or trying to posit a creator or designer. But
I done read the whole thing. They try to figure. Hey, Jonathan Rogers, man, what's on your mind, man?
Yo, I've been keeping up with the talk, man. It's good stuff going on, man. I appreciate y'all. So a little bit.
You first time caller, brother?
Yeah, I never called in before, man. Greetings.
Peace, brother. Peace.
So I appreciate the conversations around science. I'll try to keep it in tune with that. But one of the things that I've been trying to, I guess, organize in my own head was the timeline where scientists of a previous era had a vested interest in proving that people of African descent were genetically and biologically inferior. So there was an overall effort to say that these Black people are the closest thing you can get to apes. The cranial sutures on African males are all seized up at 19, so their brains don't grow anymore. Those types of things. So at that time, that was the scientific consensus. So the things that we say now that we think would be foolish to argue with, during that time, all of these, I guess, biological papers, all of this research, they had decades of research to support their theories about the overall quality of African people. So in those times, if those ideas were the consensus, what types of ideas do we have now that are the consensus that are just as absurd? I think there's a timeline. There's a timeline there. And I guess I want you to speak on that timeline back then, and if that's even valid, and then if that's happening now.
Yeah, you make a fun. So see these two books right here? Here you go. Types of Mankind of Earthological Research and Indigenous Races of the Earth. Y'all can see it, right?
Yep, see that.
All right. So first of all, everything you just said, you was wrong. So it wasn't even science. It was pseudoscience. They didn't have no repeatable tested nothing. Remember this. Remember, I always talk about this, right? So you could kind of give them a slight piece of break, because that's why I teach evolution, is because they was thinking, first of all, they was thinking people came from the Bible, bro. We got to get all this in our mind. We sit in an environment where we're using science and all that, but back then, they actually thought that the Earth was 6,000 years old. The geologists wasn't trying to, mess up with the biblical people, and you don't want to get kicked out your damn house. All right, and no, it was, they didn't have no science on that. They just was learning. They were saying this is that, and we are superior because we didn't enslave all them people. So I guess our scholars be more intelligent. Right? They would measure it. They didn't understand what the brain was. Matter of fact, it's not until after the Civil War that they even knew what the hell infection was. Think about that. You don't know about infection, but yet you're saying how intelligence is measured based off of craniometrics. So that shit wasn't even science, right? It was racism. Remember, that was the foundation. Scientific racism was the foundation of the slave trade. See, you gotta, in the world we live in, you at least have to sound intelligent. You had at least got to have science, use the word science, right? To give it validity. They've been doing it since the Roman and Greek times, right? So that's why you see people always say the word science. But just because you're saying the word science doesn't mean it's good science at all. So yes, scientific racism, right, was based off of pseudoscience, right? It wasn't based off of Charles Darwin theory. Remember, Charles Darwin's theory in the 1800s, right? I'm giving you a timeline now, right? He overthrew that. Prior to that, you had 27 races, 10 races, 6 races, 7 races. They had all kinds of numbers for races, bro. They really didn't know. They was guessing. All right. Remember, man had just started, 1600s, just started circumnavigating the globe, right? Remember Charles Darwin, he went around the globe and looked at everything. That's how he came up with his model, right? The variation, right? Evolution by way of natural selection. But everybody else was somewhere off making some shit up. So no, bro, that's a mistake when people say, yo, and I heard your point, and it was a good point, meaning it gives us the chance to try to explain it. Wait a minute. You was basically saying, then brother, and the pseudo killers. So what about the ideas we have now? What's the chances that they could be wrong too? Well, you're right, brother. Based off more information, they could be wrong too.
Yeah.
But that stuff back then wasn't science, yo. It was pseudoscientific. It was
That's the distinction I'm looking for.
That was
the distinction.
There was another main distinction too. There was no peer review back then. What those racist scientists were saying, someone could not objectively go to another set. I'll say it the quick way first. Those experiments could not be replicated. They would do things like measure the dents in the skulls and things that they would do like all types of arbitrary stuff to try to to try to justify it, they would measure the skull, measure the distance which from the nose to the eyes and things of that nature, and just the general shape and all. Like they would try to, they pretty much tried to codify race, but nobody could replicate it independently. So while it may have been an attempt at science, it wasn't actual science, because the one thing, all right, let's take the Big Bang.
Hold on. So before you move on to the Big Bang, if we say that they didn't have any peer review, is it accurate to say that they did have peer review, but their peers were also bigots in the same degree, and they just agreed with it? They just built with it and ran with it, and they used their previous friend as the source, and now they've all got each other.
Put it this way: they ran with it without confirming the experiment. That's the difference.
Right.
That's the difference. And like I said, I wasn't getting ready to get into the Big Bang. I was just using that as an example of how modern science works differently, because you had to have actual experiments. You had to have Hubble looking through his telescope, literally proving during an eclipse that space-time gets bent. Then you had to have somebody else to come in another eclipse and then duplicate that after he published his findings. And see, and then once that experiment is duplicated, that's when it gets accepted. The thing about the pseudoscience with trying to define us or just trying to separate humans into the races is that those experiments could never be duplicated because they weren't rooted in the truth. They weren't correct. So nobody could duplicate it. So therefore, it was never accepted as a consensus on a scientific level. Now, on a social level, that's different. On a social level, social could be whatever you want.
I want to give the brother a source as well, right? As well as the listening audience. And this is one of the sources that have been floating around that we've actually been reviewing. I'm going to share this screen here and bring up a QR code for this. For anybody that's really interested in delving into the idea of race science, right? This is called Race, the Power of an Illusion. Right,
y'all. I gotta jump. I appreciate it though. It's been real. Y'all keep up the good work.
Absolutely. So anybody that's really interested in going through this sort of the historical, this is like a document. It's a 3-part documentary. It's like an hour each. Right. It's available on Vimeo. You can rent it. You can buy it. Right. And it goes through the whole idea of race science or race pseudoscience, quote unquote. The idea that the phenotypical differences that you see on the surface level between populations actually signals something deep and genetically different, right? And it talks about the erroneous thinking and the erroneous logic behind this. So anybody that's really interested in taking a look at a really good 3-hour presentation or a 3-hour documentary, take a look at Race, the Power of Illusion.
Yes.
If I could add something to the
science is self-correcting. And that it is by means of science that we actually know what pseudoscience is. And the mechanisms that science has put in place, the peer review process, the guarding for biases, these sorts of tools have been implemented to make the process more transparent, more unbiased, and provide clarity. And within that process itself, whatever mistakes are there, reassure yourself that science is the only tool we have to make sure that whatever mistakes are there will be corrected.
Yeah. I also want to add, I think we should recognize something about, and I'm not saying this about anybody in particular, but what I have noticed is when I talk to people who push pseudoscientific ideas, is that most times than not, like 99% of the time, they always have old sources. They always go back to the older sources. And that in my view is a tell that they're not looking to get the correct information. Because if you were looking to get the most accurate information, what you do is go to the most up-to-date sources. But whenever you talk to somebody who's trying to push these ideas, you get sources like from the 1960s and 1970s, even from the 1900s.
In the last, we had 1800s as some
sneaking food.
Yeah. So that in my view is a tell that these people are not trying to get to the most accurate information. They're doing a narrative, and
This
and
goes
that's what
back
you'll
to
notice.
cherry picking.
Right, cherry picking, and what we call what's is there's another
Confirmation
name for
bias.
confirmation bias.
Confirmation
There you
bias.
go.
That's
There it
it.
is.
You just
Right.
you have a premise and you look for anything imaginable that's going to agree with you, and then you're going to totally ignore everything contradictory to what you already believe.
Absolutely.
So I think that was a great question, brother, because that's how they attack us with that, right? Those points of, well, how do you know that what you're saying is right now? Because back then, first of all, science doesn't try to prove right or wrong. It's approximations. Second thing, y'all can read the article on Wikipedia, scientific racism. So this whole notion that they remotely understood where humans first came from, they didn't. It was Charles Darwin, and what's the guy name, the Victorian scientist name? Albert Churchwood, right? It was those two that was promoting that. But to that point, I'm telling you, man, people actually thought that, first of all, Europeans clearly thought that we came from the pages of the damn Bible.
Mm-hmm.
You
know what else? You know what else? My fault, bro.
Boy, don't do it. Don't you do it. Calm down, chill, take your time. Don't kill.
I thought you was dumb. I thought you
Hell
paused
yeah,
a little
thought
bit.
that, boy. Let me see. I'm
My
trying
bad,
to calm
bruh.
Cedric down. I gotta get Kevin.
My bad,
I
bro.
gotta calm you down. I got two of them.
My bad, bro.
I got my book gun on Cedric, and I gotta keep an eye on you now, boy.
Probably. Hey, man, this is my second or third time calling, so I'm getting a little too comfortable.
No. You know what? You accent home. So you know what I'm doing? Go ahead, brother.
No, I just wanted to make the point that we got to realize that in what is 200,000 years humans been on our planet. Mm-hmm. Science is what, 500 years old.
Right.
So if you talking, well, the scientific method. I'm sorry, as far as that method of use, you know what I mean, of coming up with truth. It's relatively new. So if you talking something from 200-300 years ago, even the scientists are working their way through it. Everything evolves. Everything doesn't pop up on the scene fully developed. You know what I mean? Like I always throw out Darwin and guys like Newton and things like that. Those guys were geniuses, but they kind of set the pace and kind of put it out there so everybody else got to catch up. So a lot of times people was trying to or thinking, you know what I mean? Because of their biases, they were thinking they were doing sciences, but they just weren't really. So we just got to recognize that where we're at right now, we have more knowledge than we have ever had in the history of human beings. So you know what I mean? Like, if they got something wrong 200-300 years ago, you just got to chalk that up to the game. Like it's new. And that's all I really wanted to say, bro.
Yeah, but we at that frontier with space now, right? There are going to be things that humans is on the porch. They just got outside the damn house. They even sit on the porch. Getting to the moon, you get to sit on the porch. Mm-hmm. If you can travel, if you can send a human being to the moon, you're actually sitting on the porch. Right? And you can look across the street. They sent the probe to Mars, so they like looking across the street, but they can't get over there. Right? So imagine being in an environment where you actually think people came from some damn literature because you had intercontinental ships and you spread your religion, so that's where the hell you came from. To hell with the indigenous people and where they thought they came from, because remember, each group of human beings all thought they came from their creation stories. This is hard for us to wrap our mind around, bro. Right? And just to hear conversations with people still claiming we come out of goddamn literary work is crazy, but it ain't far-fetched. So, but imagine if you got people like Nephilim and them, the Hebrews and Black Christians and all that, and howling, screaming about we come from the pages of a book, yo. Imagine how it was back there when there was not a created theory of evolution yet. right? Then imagine somebody named Charles Darwin, right? And Albert Church were talking about first humans probably came from Africa. And their closest relatives would be apes. Oh man, you talking about what? Man, Darwin didn't want to publish his work, bro. Matter of fact, Darwin had to talk around the issue. In his book, his first book, he only mentioned humans once or twice in his whole book. He tricked them. He talked about everything, plants, animals, snails, rabbits, snakes, trees, birds, see anything but humans, because he knew, yo, that people wasn't ready, bro. Like, they not even ready now. Imagine that. Yeah, we don't come from monkeys. You know that argument, right? Go back to the 1800s, 1700s, bro. You probably get strung up and you're done. So yeah, man. So that
Blasphemy.
Look at Galileo. Look what they did to him.
Blasphemy. It was literally a death sentence for speaking against God, like literally. So
heresy, string him up.
So look, man, we had a nice crowd today, man. We at the end, man. We don't want to do it too long, man. I appreciate some of the donations that came through, man. Let me read some of these people, man. This is gonna go right back to the books, man. Appreciate Design, man. Appreciate you. Good looking out, man. Gerald Price, man. Look, that's some good looking out, man. Malcolm, man. Appreciate you, man. Christopher Key, appreciate you, man. Environment, man. Good looking out, man. Yeah, man. It's been a powerful show, man. We'll be back the same time next Sunday, man. Y'all can start setting y'all clock, man. We'll be on here. We're gonna be doing this, man. Tell your friends, tell everybody, man. We're gonna have some experts coming through, man. You know what I'm saying? We hoping somebody hit that link. They want to, get scuffled up, because you're going to get scuffled up fighting against science. You're going to get scuffled up, man. But we don't mind scuffing people up. That's okay, man. Appreciate all the guests that called in, man. Appreciate that, man. So, Brendan, you got any closing statements to make, brother?
No, not really. I think this was a good sort of opening show to sort of frame the conversation based on the next few weeks, what we're going to be doing here. Again, right, thanks for all the people who jumped on and contributed to the conversation. Google Scholar, again, you say your family, you're always welcome on. Peace of the brother Preem and brother Jonathan. Those are some good questions. Take a look at some of the sources that we shared, right? Again, right, this is a community. We share information. Join the Discord. Go ahead, our mods, put the link to the Discord server in there, right? Continue the conversation over there, right? Maybe sometime later this week, right? We can go live in the Discord and have some conversations regarding this particular topic. But yeah, good evening. Happy New Year to everybody.
Thank you. Peace. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Cedric.
Again, we Pseudo Killas are going to be here every week. We're going to be dealing with these subjects concise and holistically, putting them one by one to rest. Again, scientific literacy, critical thinking is the vaccine against the charlatan in the community, the scammers, the hustlers, and those people who want to lead you astray.
Ken.
Yo, yeah, man. Man, another good one in the books. You know what I'm saying? Naphtali and friends, FOP, whatever y'all call yourselves. Let's get it, man. We're gonna spend a couple of weeks on y'all, man. So make sure y'all come back. I know they in the crowd looking.
Then we stay in the bushes.
Yeah.
Ducking like this. Yo, look, we got that scientific lenses though. We see you, yo. We see you out there, yo.
I always say don't get shot from the bushes, right?
Shoot you out the bushes, yo, because we know we see you. I see you.
Right.
See.
You got them
And don't throw rocks at the tank. Don't throw rocks at a tank. That's a bad idea.
Yeah, we got them high altitude bombers, stealth, right? We got them thermonuclear subs. We deep down in the ocean, high up above your head. The strikes is coming in. We already sent the missiles out. Y'all done. We got your locations. Y'all running around in pseudo heaven. You miss teaching information. You're dead wrong for that. You're not wrong for practicing your religion and believing in God. That's an all-human idea, but you're wrong in murmuring the words of science out of your mouth and then go directly against the rules and regulations of science. Because I see you. Hey, Brendan, man, put that song on, man. Get us out with that song, yo.
All right, all right. Let's see.
That song, we see you, man.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, talk on the track. You know,
Calling the
thinking
pseudo
of them
killers
like,
out.
be hating on a nigga,
We
man.
dummies. We gonna
Trying to
see
figure
how
out like why they be hating on low. And I learned, you know, in order to understand the motherfucker, you gotta look at things from their perspective, put yourself in their shoes. That's how I came. They say something from the hood. He ain't had to looking too good, living in the house, fireplace, burning the
Peace to
wood,
Pseudo
riding in
Killas.
that
Peace to
barrel
the
every
chat.
day. Like
Join that Discord. Join the Discord.
But I hate that nigga. Hate that nigga. Make it look easy. Look how break that nigga. Quarterback like Brady, but he ain't no fucking saint, nigga. I can do it too, but I'm mad cause I can't, nigga. Look at him. Look how you never slipping. We should've killed him long ago. Now look how he living. It's steady winning. Yeah, I'm losing, but I don't struggle. Skinning and grinning. He a real nigga, man, but fuck no taking Henny. He got a bad habit. A clean stay on his arm. With his granddaddy name was Peter Rabbit. Fuck him. Nigga don't trust him. Yeah, he's solid as steel, but that money gon' rust him. And too many people love him. I mean, you know, I can understand, goddamn, when a nigga
Y'all get that when y'all get a chance, man.
losing, you know, you kind of be feeling some type of way and shit. You know, I'm like, let's all get
Nice.
this money, you know what I'm saying? But you know, they continue to goddamn, you know, but that ain't none of my business. But you know, this is just me. This is dedicated to them hater nation, man. You know what I'm saying? He a dirty nigga. Give him back like he ain't heard of niggas. He scared of niggas. He was raised by the young and fearless. When's the last time you seen this nigga?
You got to get us a clean version, kid.
Pull up on the scene with his feelings missing. Sociopathic, but I wouldn't want my car next to his in traffic. And if he's laughing, it's like he's pricing. I'm the passion. It's like he's packing and I'm the one that's lacking. Fatal attraction, affirmative action. Hey, hell nah, nigga can't be. He just made another chess move I can't see. He probably feel like this Nintendo, he the game genie. On FB, he always talking shit, I'm about to be leaked. You see me, never see eye to eye. His circle small, but he always providing the pie. I can't lie, but fuck him. Nigga, don't trust him. Yeah, he's solid as steel, but them haters gon' rust him. Man, too many people love him. Yeah, man, you know. Damn, that's how y'all feel. Shit, I mean, what can I do? I mean, hey, I want us all to eat, you feel me? But you know, everybody can't win, it gotta be a loser. So, I mean, shit, you know, fuck it. Shit was jamming. I like, you know what I mean? Classic shit.
That's what they gonna hear with the tank. That's what they gonna hear booming in the tank on Friday.
Oh, man.
I don't give a fuck.
Come in.
It's all love, though.
We come in.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Okay. Oh, we still going. Shit. That's what I'm talking about. Let's get it.
Hey, yo.
For sure.
I see Chaz in that chat, Chatty Patty, and talking about I ain't see nothing but conjecture. I ain't see no math and science. I see you. You should have hit that link. You know you weren't gonna hit that link. I see you talking that talk, but scared to walk that walk. Chaz gonna make you famous, and guess what? I see you. Yeah, man, we out, man. That's a great show, man.